the 30-yard shot, I'm probably about a club head apart.
Okay.
If I were to go to 50, I might just be a tiny bit more. If I was doing the 75-yarder, I might be 2 club heads apart, okay? So when you get narrow, your arc of your swing becomes much more up and down, more V-shaped, okay? When you get wide, the arc of your swing now shallows out to much more U-shaped, okay? If there was a clock, you're 9 o'clock, your chest high swing. And you know what, to this day, I did that. The way you can begin to control your grip pressure is you can make sure you just open and close it a little bit. Welcome to the show today, guys. I couldn't be more excited. I haven't been more excited for a YouTube episode in a while. We got my man Ake here in from the 847. Okay, the 847. Some of you guys out there know who it is, but that is a greater Chicagoland area code. I was born and raised in Chicago. You've been a follower of Adam and I's for a while. You know, this is always great for us because you already have an understanding of the vocabulary, of the concepts we're gonna learn. And again, today is about making sure that you get what you need to have those be implemented with the least amount of thought. So he sent me this little list here, right? One of them was partial wedges. I want to learn how to hit these crisply and consistently, and I'd love to have a 30, 50, 75-yard shot in the bag. For you to successfully be in the 70s all the time, that has to be in the bag, okay? And here's the thing, that being in the bag makes all of our ball striking better throughout the bag. We're gonna start with the 30, 50, 75-yard shots, okay? We're gonna start from the short stuff, we're gonna build up through, okay? But I'm getting control of the pressures in my feet.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm making sure that all the weight is on my front foot. Getting control of the pressures in your feet, I always like to make sure that the pressure is on the front foot for the majority of it, almost 90% I'm feeling like on these, right?
Okay.
And guess what? It's gonna stay there. It's gonna stay there because now I can make myself, if I'm connected and I'm turning, look at this, I can have the same low point every time.
Right.
Any player I see who gets up here for a 30, 50, 75-yard shot, and I see a little wider stance, and all of a sudden I see any pressure coming into the back foot, already we're having issues with our contact, which is really necessary to have good distance control. Okay, your low point, as that pressure gets back, the angles change. Look how that divot went way back there behind, right? Boom. I keep it up here, I start to do this. So on this one foot, and you're literally rotating around the post, right?
Gotcha. Yep.
You're taking your chest. All of these shots, they don't need lower body until the 8-iron, right? You can just get in here and you can just boom and boom, all right?
Gotcha.
So we're gonna be narrow, we're gonna have our weight forward. We're gonna make sure our setup is good, all right?
How narrow would you say?
So the width of stance is going to change with the length of the shot, the size of the shot, right?
Okay.
So if I was hitting the 30-yard shot, which is really gonna be the hardest of the 3 that you mentioned, the 30-yard shot, I'm probably about a club head apart.
Okay.
If I were to go to 50, I might just be a tiny bit more. If I was doing the 75-yarder, I might be 2 club heads apart, okay? If I had a 165-yard 8-iron, I'm only here. You know, a lot of people will get that 8-iron, especially people like you who said they're using their legs. They're gonna get in there, they're gonna get a wide stance, they're gonna sit down, I'm gonna hit this 8-iron far.
Yeah.
No, you're not, right? You're gonna hit it high in the air and it's not gonna go far. But this person who gets a little bit narrow, a little closer, a little bit on top of it, they're now creating the angles that allows us to squeeze shots out there, okay?
So why, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
So how does the width of stance impact the shot? For example, like if you use the 50-yard width for a 30-yard shot, what happens? Dude,
I just love this. I love your mind. I love the questions you're asking because again, everybody, not only you, everybody is gonna get so much better. The width of stance is a main impact of how the club is gonna work into the ground. So when you get narrow, your arc of your swing becomes much more up and down, more V-shaped. Okay, when you get wide, the arc of your swing now shallows out to much more U-shaped. Okay, when I'm hitting a lofted club, I want to be hitting a little bit more down. Okay, I want to be making sure I'm getting nice and crisp contact. Now, the width of stance also allows us the ability to do what we mentioned earlier. Well, hey, I'm hitting a pitching wedge. What do I not need in my pitching wedge to be successful?
Shift.
I don't need a weight shift. So if my foot is way back here, I give myself all the opportunity to move back here and to be stuck back here. You know what? If you had your feet together and you made a little weight shift on a pitching wedge, you're gonna have a better miss. Okay?
Good question. For 50-yard shots, is it done with speed and tempo and rhythm or choking up?
50-yard shot is not done with speed. Short game is not done with speed. Wedge play, distance control is not done with speed.
Okay.
Okay, that is all done with efficiency and rhythm and connection.
Gotcha.
Right? We do need a little bit more speed when we're trying to hit a high soft 4-iron or we're trying to pound a drive. But if we're inside 125 yards, speed most of the time is not our friend. Okay?
Okay.
The 30, the 50, the 75 yarder, they'll be hit with the same rhythm and tempo.
Okay.
It's more of a 1-2.
Okay.
1-2. Right? It's more of a putting, more of a metronome tempo. On average, the PGA Tour is about 66 beats per minute. When you start hitting a high normal 7-iron, that's when you get the tour tempo, which is 1 and 2, right? And there's that little extra beat in that rhythm for things to load and get ready. But for these shots, it's more boom, boom, 1, 2. Now all we've got to do is find the 50. Find this position to be able to go back here wherever it is for you, right? Maybe it's chest high and in full angle. Maybe it's feeling like your arms are way out here stretching out. It's a feel that you create. You put an awareness to that becomes a rung on a ladder for you.
Okay.
Right? And it's something you can go back to, and we're going to dial that in for you. So when you leave today, you'll have, your understanding of how the setup, small changes from 30 to 75 yards, and then how there's some big differences in the feels of how far your club goes back. So 1, 2. There you go, dude. Awesome. Turn the chest back, turn it through. There you go. Beautiful. Great. That's 50 right on the dot. So let's see if we can do that again.
They feel crisp, like crisper.
Crisper, right?
Yeah,
and again,
crisper.
contact, contact, contact. So your ability to roll out of bed and hit this shot means your entire game is more solid. Automatically, my grip, I start to choke in the middle of the grip, right? If I have a shot that's inside 60 yards, I'm automatically choking there.
Gotcha.
And I saw you as you took your first setup. First thing was boom, end of club. No chance.
Okay.
No chance for a 50-yarder. Okay.
Yeah.
We're getting a little narrower than you probably would be. We're going to choke down a little bit. We're going to get a little closer. And guess what? Just by doing those 3 things, you already hit it more solid. So take your practice swings. Here's what I'd be doing. I'd be getting a little bit narrow. Perfect right there. I'd be having all the weight on the upper part of my left toe. Okay, good. And now I'm just going to try to take my shoulders, hands, and club, move them together to a spot on the back, pause it, and let that club fall. Very nice, dude. Awesome. Pretty good contact, right?
Yeah.
You did a great job there. I loved where the low points were, but there's no way, I don't think, of knowing how far this golf ball would have gone or how the contact was. And here's why. Those practice swings. What's the most important thing right now? Well, yes, low point, yes, setup. Okay, good. But also control of the backswing, awareness. Okay? So we would have been better served taking 3 practice swings and coming here. Good. Okay, there we go. All right. Good, same spot. So this feels like hip high. Good. I just got my hands. Okay, good. I'm just gonna let it fall. Okay, so now I'm gonna get in here. Got my weight left. Got choking down a little bit. That was the spot I wanted to try to get to. I'm gonna try to get there and feel that again. I'm gonna go slow, boom, and I go through. Your whole goal is trying to go to the same spot with the same rhythm and keep control of the weight in your feet, right? Yep. Beautiful. Awesome. Good. Take it back here and pause it. Good. Soften up that grip. The core is holding it, the pecs are holding it. There we go. Now you can actually feel the weight of this club. Feel that? Right?
Yeah.
Such a sneaky thing for people because, again, we need to feel the weight of the club so it can fall.
Gotcha.
The club is doing more of the work and more of the acceleration than you are.
Gotcha.
And when the hands get tight, you lose feel of the club head, right?
Yeah,
It can't fall. You have to create the force. Again, there's something different every day.
Wow.
Good.
Okay, that's a lot different then.
It's very different, right? The soft hands. It's one of the hardest things for a coach to to see. The rhythm gets off, the divots get really steep, the contact gets off, and until we go there and we touch your hands and we can feel, holy cow, we're death gripping the club, we have no chance on a short game and no chance on a distance control shot. I need to make sure I add the component of softening my hands. Watch every single player on tour. What are they doing? You remember Sergio a long time ago. You mentioned you started playing golf when Tiger won his first major. A way you can begin to control your grip pressure is you can make sure you just open and close it a little bit. You can see a ton of players always picking their thumb up, right? They're just reminding themselves to grip softly because the second any bit of challenge or stress comes into your mind, the same thing is gonna happen. I'm gonna get ready to squat my hips back and grip my club tight, right? So again, you finding that process and being aware of those separate components, the grip is very important. You could do everything else correct, But if that grip is tight, all of a sudden we've lost rhythm of the club, okay? And you can hit he could hit a very bad shot. Again, dude, I mean, you're gonna be shooting below 76 in no time, okay? This guy is a great student. He's got his hands in front of his chest. He's got the club fully set. Here's the thing though, I believe the fully set of the club doesn't happen until about 75 yards.
Okay.
This is gonna be your I'm almost positive your 75-yard shot is gonna be chest high with full hinge. Which means your 50-yard shot, if you have full hinge, you've already created way too much power and force, right? So your 50-yard shot is gonna be a little bit softer with the hands. I always get this question, is the chipping the same set as the full swing, right? Well, the full swing is setting, and every club I hit needs to be fully set. But if I'm hitting a 30-yard shot, I don't want full set. If I'm hitting a 50-yard shot, it's not going to feel full angle. That full angle and that great set position you created for me is going to be the one, I believe, where we get to the 75-yard shot and you're going to be able to hit it over and over, go to your chest, full angle, stay on your front foot, boom, you're hitting a solid 70-yard shot every single time, okay?
I feel like what scares me about that is when I don't hinge, then I feel like when I come down, I have to like load it, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But so...
Well, and again, your club head will be falling more. There you go. Great, dude. Perfect contact, perfect sound. Okay, let's work on a little more rhythm and flow. You can go a little bit higher, because again, remember, we don't know where our 50 is, so our 50 might be higher. I would say make your hands go a little bit higher on your body, maybe bottom of the rib cage.
Okay.
But the contact, everything there was great. Good. So let's move on to the 75-yarder.
Okay.
The 75-yarder is here. Here's what I think the 75-yarder will be for you. And it was for me, and still to this day, I can hit 75 on the number because it's my 9 o'clock swing. And I got the chance to play with Phil Mickelson when I was a young professional, and I was on the 18th hole, and I finally got the nerves up to ask him something. I said, Phil, what would you tell a young player trying to make it? What's the one thing he could do? And this is very important for you. Very important. He said, find your 9 o'clock. What the heck are you talking about? Find your 9 o'clock swing. If there was a clock, your 9 o'clock, your chest high swing. And you know what, to this day, I did that and I found my 9 o'clock. And to this day, if I had the numbers 75, 90, 120 or 130, I would pull up my lob wedge, my gap wedge, my pitching wedge, and my 9-iron, and I would bet anyone standing there that I would hit it within 5 yards. Because I had a good setup, and because now I had control of my backswing, my 9 o'clock swing, full angle and through, right? Full angle and through. And it was bigger. I know it was bigger, but it's about the mental connection and the feel. And this is, again, where for you it's really important. It's not technically perfect 9 o'clock, and it doesn't have to be. It has to be feeling like 9 o'clock every time. It has to have good rhythm to get to 9 o'clock every time. So as you get in here and hit these and we search for that 75-yarder, we're getting a tiny bit wider. We're staying on the left foot. We're choking down a hair and getting over the golf ball. Okay. And then we're going to take some practice swings first. Beautiful. Good. And you're going to go to your 9 o'clock. You're going to go chest facing Kev in the camera. Boom. And the hands right in front of it. Oh my gosh, nothing could be better. The only thing that could be terrible would be if these were too tight, right? Good, and then move it through. Awesome, do it again. You don't need to turn your lower body on this.
Okay.
You can just leave your lower body where it is. Your left hip will turn, but it's not gonna drive the motion.
Okay, I still have weight forward on this,
You
right?
still leave your weight forward, absolutely. That was better. That was less lower body turn, and look, you still turned fully, right? But again, what did we say earlier today? We said 150 yards and in doesn't need speed and hips and rotation, especially from down below. It needs stability. From all of these shots inside 150, even 165, the speed and the power is gonna come from the upper body. Look at this, my chest turning, right? That's why we put the towel under people's arms. So for you, who's been really using their legs well and getting up here and driving the turn, all of a sudden now you're making your wedge play more inefficient. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So I want you to make sure you're taking these hands back and you're, boom, letting those lead through. Look how my hips barely rotate, right? They kind of rotate because my chest and my hands pulled them forward.
Gotcha.
All right? So a couple more where you take it back there and pause. You're going to be working on finding your 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Good, you're in a great setup. We got pressure underneath the left big toe. We're turning back. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Good, through. Dude, fantastic right there. That was unbelievable. The sound, the strike, everything completely changed right there. No, professionals chip it around the golf course. They hit their 9 o'clock, what you're hitting there, more often than anybody has any idea. They're not going full sending up here. Nothing good happens from up here. Nothing really good happens from over here, you know, especially when you're inside 150. Those are way, way better, okay?
Gotcha. Thanks.
Goal right now is not to hit it actually 75 yards, but to get your spot, get your 9 o'clock,
Okay.
pause it, and then let the golf ball get in the way. Don't even worry about it.
Okay.
How does that feel?
Really good.
I mean, that's got to be a better ball flight than normally you're hitting with this 75-yard shot, right?
Yeah.
It's more penetrating, it's lower, it's more solid.
Yep.
Going 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock. We normally don't like to use the clock system, but for me, that's just, and then boom, move the hands, no lower body. Yes, good. And then do it again and hit it harder from that 9 o'clock spot. There you go. And now you're hitting it harder with the right part. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
now
definitely
you're
right
hitting
here.
it harder with your chest and your shoulders versus getting up there and hitting it harder with your lower body and your hips and having all of the angles change on the way to the golf ball.
Yeah.
Okay?
Gotcha. Yeah, I felt that.
Awesome. Minimum 75 yards right there, right? Minimum, okay? So go ahead and work that a little bit. But again, if you're practicing for 30 minutes, 10 to 15 of them should be hitting your 9 o'clock spot. Not just for you, for everybody. For everybody, because that's gonna give you control of your backswing. The result of being on plane and connected is gonna show you solid straight shots, okay?
Okay.
Again, as you master these shots, everything gets better.
I think the component is trust for me.
Yes.
Because I always want to be like,
You wanna try to save
load it. And yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's like
Absolutely.
trusting that I'm there and have enough power.
Well, that's exactly the part it is. It's trusting that you have enough power.
Yeah.
And every one that you hit here with no effort and the club falling, right, you begin to build trust that you actually do have enough power and you don't have to rip into it and slide the hips open. Perfect, bud. Good?
Yeah.
Do you want to grab the phone out for a little recap of the 30, 50, 70 yards and the wedges and stuff? Okay, let's go through the process for getting our short irons and our wedge play dialed. It starts with the length of grip, middle of the grip if I'm under 90 yards, okay? It starts with the width of stance. Your width of stance is gonna dictate the length of the shot and the angle of attack. So if I have a 30-yard shot, I'm very narrow. If I have a 50-yard shot, I'm a little bit wider. If I have the 75-yard shot, I'm even a little wider. We move everything forward and I've got 90% of the weight on my front foot. I've got it under my left big toe, okay? And what that does is it makes me have my fulcrum, the top of my pendulum, in the same spot. So look at that, I have the exact same low point every time. I do not ever need to hit anything under 165 and load my trail leg, okay? You can literally sit there and pitch it and chip it around the golf course. Those shots are hit with efficiency and smoothness, not speed. I think the big thing for you is find your 9 o'clock. We call it finding our 50, but the 9 o'clock to me, again, going back to what Phil told me as a young player, is just the easiest way to get control of your connected backswing. All it does is it makes your chest move your hands back and through, right? We talked about another portion of the angle of the club. On a 30-yard shot, I don't need any angle. On a 50-yard shot, I probably don't need any angle. On a 75-yard shot is where, in my experience, you start to be able to feel a 9 o'clock arm swing and a full angle of the club. And that's how you now have enough power to effortlessly hit that ball solid and straight 75 to 80 yards every time. So finding your 9 o'clock, it's gonna be for you roughly your 75-yard shot. You'll dial it in. But that's the first rung on the ladder. That's the easiest one. And guess what? My 50 is just a little bit below that, right? My 30 is a little bit below that. I have one that's a little above that for short irons, but you probably don't use it often. You might have a 3/4 wedge shot, right? But most of the time, even when I'm trying to hit my furthest wedge or 8 iron, I'm feeling more 9 o'clock and I'm ripping my hands through, right? And that leads us to the second port for you. For you, somebody who's loaded the back leg and rotated around the front leg and used the ground really correctly, right, but incorrectly for wedge play. Lower body is going to be more stability. It's going to be back here, and now when you hit it, and if you were to try to hit it hard, you would hit it hard with your chest, arms, and hands and club, not a quick, hard hip turn or a lower body move. That just makes our contact get thrown off. Big, big misses.